In this video, we're going to look at the basic refrigeration cycle, not from a technician's point of view, but in a way that makes sense to anyone who's ever wondered how air conditioners actually work. Cold cannot be created. The only thing we can do is move heat from one place to another. Refrigeration systems do exactly that. They remove heat from one place and release it somewhere else. Indoors, heat is absorbed from the indoor air by the refrigerant. That heat is then carried by the refrigerant until it's released to the outdoor air. To understand how this works, let's first look at the four main components that make the system work. What you're seeing right now is a simplified view of a basic refrigeration cycle. This view helps us to focus on the major components before we look inside and see what's actually happening. Every air conditioner and refrigerator is built around these four main components: the compressor, the condenser, the metering device, and the evaporator. Also critical to the operation of the system are two fans. One fan moves indoor air across the evaporator coil, where heat from the indoor air is absorbed by the refrigerant. The other fan moves outdoor air across the condenser coil, where the refrigerant releases that heat to the outdoor air. In a typical residential air conditioning system, the evaporator and the metering device are located indoors, usually in the air handler unit. The compressor and the condenser are located outdoors in the condenser unit. These components work together continuously to move heat from indoors to outdoors. Now let's open up the system and look at what's actually happening inside. This is a visual representation designed to make the process easier to understand. The colors represent temperature. Blue indicates colder refrigerant, red indicates refrigerant that's hotter. Colors in between, such as purple, represent intermediate temperatures. You'll also see liquid and vapor shown separately, so we can track how the refrigerant changes as it moves through the system. Whenever liquid and vapor exist together at the same time, the refrigerant is said to be saturated. During this phase change, large amounts of heat can be absorbed or released without the temperature changing. This energy transfer is called latent heat, and it's the key reason refrigeration systems can move such large amounts of heat so efficiently. Now let's follow the refrigerant through the cycle, starting at the evaporator. The refrigerant enters the evaporator as a low-pressure, low-temperature mixture of liquid and vapor, typically about 80% liquid and 20% vapor. Since the refrigerant is colder than the indoor air, heat naturally flows from the warmer air into the colder refrigerant. As indoor air is blown across the evaporator coil, heat is absorbed by the refrigerant. And as this heat is absorbed, the refrigerant boils. Yes, it's cold, but it's still boiling, because boiling simply means changing from liquid to vapor. And because this heat is taken from the indoor air, the air leaving the evaporator coil is cooler. This is how the air inside your home is cooled. Throughout most of the evaporator coil, the refrigerant remains in that saturated state. Liquid and vapor both exist, and the temperature stays essentially the same. As the refrigerant flows through the coil, more and more of that liquid boils into vapor. Eventually, the last of the liquid boils off. At this point, the refrigerant is now completely vapor. Any additional heat added beyond this point causes the vapor temperature to rise. This temperature increase above the saturation temperature is called superheat. The refrigerant vapor now travels to the compressor. Compressors can only compress vapor, not liquid, so it's critical that only vapor enters the compressor. The compressor takes in this low-pressure vapor and dramatically increases its pressure. One of the most important concepts in thermodynamics is that pressure and temperature are linked. When pressure increases, temperature increases. As a result, the refrigerant leaving the compressor is now a high-pressure, high-temperature vapor. This temperature increase is essential to the operation of the system. As we know, heat can only flow from something hotter to something that's colder. So, in order for the refrigerant to release heat outdoors, even on a very hot summer day, the refrigerant must be hotter than the outdoor air. So, by raising the pressure, the compressor is also raising the refrigerant temperature high enough that the heat can now flow from the refrigerant to the outdoor air. From the compressor, the refrigerant moves into the condenser. This is where the refrigerant releases the heat that it absorbed from indoors. A fan blows outdoor air across the condenser coil. And because the refrigerant is hotter than the outdoor air, heat flows out of the refrigerant and into the outdoor air. So if you go outside on a hot summer day and put your hand above the condenser unit while your air conditioner is running, you'll feel really hot air blowing out of that unit. It'll be a lot hotter than the air temperature outside. And that air is hotter because it contains the heat that your air conditioner just removed from the air inside your house. As the heat leaves the refrigerant inside your condenser unit, the vapor begins to condense back into liquid. Most of this heat transfer, again, occurs during that phase change while the refrigerant is saturated. Once all the vapor has condensed into liquid, the refrigerant continues losing heat and its temperature begins to drop. By the time the refrigerant leaves the condenser, its temperature is several degrees below its saturation temperature, and this drop below saturation temperature is called subcooling. This high-pressure liquid refrigerant now moves to the metering device. The metering device, often a thermostatic expansion valve, or TXV, is essentially a restriction that limits how much refrigerant can flow. As the refrigerant passes through this restriction, the pressure suddenly drops. Because pressure and temperature are linked, this pressure drop also causes a large temperature drop. Some of the liquid refrigerant instantly flashes into vapor. This produces a low temperature mixture of liquid and vapor known as flash gas. This pressure drop cooling effect is similar to what happens when you use a can of spray paint or deodorant. As the spray leaves the can, the pressure drops and the can becomes cold. The refrigerant isn't cooled by adding cold. It's cooled simply by reducing its pressure. From here, the cycle repeats. Cold refrigerant absorbs the heat from the indoor air. The heat is carried through the system by the refrigerant, and it's released outdoors. The system runs continuously, moving heat from indoors to outdoors. We've intentionally kept this explanation focused on the big picture. Concepts like saturation, superheat, subcooling, and pressure-temperature relationships are essential to understanding refrigeration. And we'll explore those in much greater depth in a separate, more technical video. But for now, this overview should give you a clear understanding of how the refrigeration cycle works and how heat is absorbed, moved, and released to keep your home comfortable. I really appreciate you watching. If you found this explanation helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. We'll be releasing a more technical follow-up video soon. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks again.